What is good? What is good for the culture family? Hope you guys are having an amazing day. A great start to the week. This week has been very, very interesting here for us. And we're going to pull up exactly, what we're looking for and what we're expecting because, things have been going as expected for this week. So starting off with gold here, I mentioned to our members yesterday in our VIP, our daily recap, that price closed as a bearish daily candle. We had members being able to execute on the sell move that we had yesterday during our session. What did we see happen? Price had in fact created a low. We came down. If we dial down to our smaller time frame here, let's go take a look at our 15-minute. You can see that we had a low get created as price created this low here. We had a correction, and then within this move here, we seen actually a steeper move to the downside, and this is where our members were actually able to capitalize on this trade. If we dial down now to our 1 minute time frame, we'll just show this here. You can see that price created a high, created a new low, tested that high, broke through the low. We had this high get created, a new low, correction. The 5-minute candle closed bearish. This is actually where we were able to members were able to take entries. This is the sell that we were looking for yesterday, targeting that 33.13 low, which I mentioned in the pre-market prep yesterday as well. So not only did we see this steeper move to the downside on our pre-market prep, but during the live session I said that it was likely that this will be an area where price rejects off of, and we likely could see the rest of the daily go bullish. Well, that's exactly what we've seen happen. Following that impulsive move to the downside, the daily candle was in fact a bearish candle, but the current daily following this rejection has been relatively bullish. Now on the smaller time frame, we don't really have a ton of volume here, right? So we're gonna have to dial down to our lower time frame structure to kind of see what it is. In times where we don't have a ton of volume, you have to just go ahead and look at that lower time frame, dial down to the lower time frame, and then that'll give you your the trade setup that you want to see, because in times of low volume and times of high volume, you just got to dial down to that lower time frame. So what am I looking for coming into today? Well, we did see a steeper move to the downside with a rejection off of this area. Today, I want to see what the lower time frame is actually going to show me. As of right now, we are in a bearish wave. Why do I say that we're in a bearish wave? Well, price pushed up, created higher highs and higher lows. Not only did we close as a bearish daily candle yesterday, but within this wave, we were creating higher highs and higher lows. Price came back down. We had a high, low, a high, a low, a high, a low, a high, a low, another high. Price came down, created another high up here. Then what did we see happen? We had a break of that low. Price has corrected. We've retested this 33.43 levels 3 times. You can see 1, 2, 3 times that this area right here has been tested, and price has just failed to push above that level there, indicating that this lower time frame structure has now flipped from being in a bearish trend, or a bullish trend, excuse me, to now being in a relative, let's get this out of here, a relative now bearish trend. So in alignment with what the daily candle is telling us, the previous daily actually closing bearish, right? Closing bearish, we took out a low. The 4-hour time frame is showing us signs of bearishness, and then our lower time frame, if we dial down to our 15-minute, as we just seen, we have actually confirmed on this lower time frame that price is in fact in a bearish possible trend, right? We flipped from creating higher highs and higher lows to now creating lower lows and lower highs. So all of our confirmations are pushing us towards the downside. Areas of interest in terms of targets for today, if we can see some volume, and we have high volume news every day this week. So if we can see some volume, this break back to take out the daily low at this 33.13 is an interesting target that we could be looking for, which was our, like I said, previous day low. Price to correct from this level and then see a steeper move to the downside. If we do in fact see this, let me pull it up here. If we see this 33.51 levels broken, then we would see a steeper move to the upside. As of right now, all time frames are aligning, saying that price is in a bearish market structure. So we're not going to go against that. and we can see this gravitate to the downside here. We're going to see how we reject off of this 33.13 low, because this is an area, like I said, if we look at the daily time frame, we just had an immense rejection from this following the daily. So it's likely that price potentially rejects off of these lows. By that point, we'll already look for our move. So in terms of coming into the session, what I'll be looking for is a continued scale move to the downside. So if we can see a breaks through these low, a correction, and then a continuation to the downside. We also don't have no bottom wick here on this 30-minute or here on this 30-minute, which is an area that price can likely sweep, right? So a lot of confluences here saying prices heading towards the downside. I'll look for a likely target of a 1 to 2 risk to reward because we're correctively, but I'll target 33.32 and also this 33.25, and then potentially flipping and actually taking out yesterday's key low at that 33.13 area there. So let's take a look at NQ. NQ yesterday, I told you guys that it was likely that NQ, and I've been saying this, pushes towards the all-time high. What did we see happen yesterday? At the end of yesterday, we actually broke out from our all-time high. You can see how our daily candle closed extremely bullish following the volume and the rejection off of that key area. And this is kind of what I mean for gold in terms of that 33.13 level. Look at this rejection that we had on this daily time frame, and what did we see happen on the following daily? We pushed up immensely bullishly, and I'm not saying that price is going to push up super bullish, but I'm just saying that this type of rejection is a sign, or this type of wick is a sign of a rejection off of that area. And if price does come back to test it for gold, just how it did for an NQ, we could potentially see this steeper move to the upside and price reject off that area. That's a great example of what I meant there. So what do we see happening here for NQ on this larger time frame? Well, we just took out our all-time highs. So you may be asking, okay, we're in no man's land now. How do I set a target profit if we're just at all-time highs? And so this is something that I want you guys to know. When we're in these times of all-time highs, right, we got a lot of bullish volume. It's likely that price continues pushing bullish throughout our session. When we have these all-time highs, you want to target solid whole numbers, right? So in terms of a solid whole number, what's a solid whole number? Instead of saying a take profit of 22,479, your take profit would be 22,500 right here, right? Instead of, and we just continue. And how we would go about this, you guys know, we wait for our corrective structure to form. So coming into the session, I would want to see some type of correction to form, and then you can target both the high that gets created or those solid whole numbers if they're right around in that area. And why I say the solid whole numbers is because these are psychological levels that in the market where people can identify, right? And it comes down to an odds thing. What do you think more people are more likely to take their money at, 22,482 or 22,500? These solid numbers is where people like to target, and that's where you could potentially start to see some corrections form and things like that, right? So in times of all-time highs, price just continue to push bullish. I would wait for a possible correction to form and then a continued bullish push. There's nothing up here that is likely to reverse price. So let's dial down to our smaller time frame, kind of see what's going on here. If we take a look at, let's say, even our 5 and 15 minute, you could just see just an immense bullish leg here. I will wait for some type of correction, and then we would see now, a continued bullish push back to target whatever the high is that gets created. Likely a target of that 24 or that 22,500 level here. There we go. So definitely, and then to see how price reacts after we hit this 22,500 level. We just took out an all-time high. Yes, price is moving bullish. We have a lot of bullish volume, but it is likely that a corrective structure begins to form. I don't think that we'll see that today. I think it's likely that we just see this bullish continuation. You look to target some of your whole numbers, and then we'll see just how high this begins to run up. Because like I said, we're in all-time highs. So if we come to our weekly time frame, there's no data, no pre or past data that's going to indicate where price is going to potentially go or reject off of, but we have a ton of volume, so looking for those continued buys up. Now, unlike Nas and Q actually does have some structural levels we can potentially begin to look at. So if we take a look on our daily time frame, extremely bullish for the daily. We dial down to now our 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, you can see here that price just kind of ranged off after we hit this this high at this 43.514 levels, and then we can see that we kind of indicated here that we created a high. Price is just kind of correcting. I would anticipate a steeper move up if we do see a break of this low here. Let me see. There we go. If we do see a break of this 43,372 lows, then you could expect a steeper corrective structure to the downside. But overall, this market structure is in fact bullish. So I would anticipate a continued bullish move. And price will remain in a bullish, larger time frame market structure until this low is broken. Why? Because this is your key low. It's the start of the push that broke through our previous key high. So this was our previous key high. Price corrected back down. Then we pushed up and broke through. What is the highest point that was created? Here. So everything that sells within this range is just corrective until we get a break of that low. That's not saying that we can't take a corrective structure based trade. You guys know, for those of you in the VIP, you guys know how I have my corrective based trade, and our full strategy is pinned up in the group. But, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're looking at, as of right now, volume is bullish. I would anticipate these lows right here at this 43,372 to hold. And then we'll look for a target high of 43,515 highs to be targeted. That's what we see coming into the markets. Previous 4-hour candle closed bearish. We just got a lot of range right here. Keep an eye on how this 4-hour candle closes. If we do, like I said, break through this low, then we could see a steeper corrective structure to the downside. This is an indication of a rejection off of the area. Not saying that price is going to reverse, because we need the lower time frame to confirm that first, but this is an early indication of a possible reversal. So keep that in mind. All right, so ES follows just like NQ does. You can see for ES, we actually have just taken out a new high here on the 4-hour time frame, confirming that price is still in a bullish market structure for the ES. You can see we had a key high get created up here. We had a correction back down. Let me zoom out here so you can see. Then we had a new high get created. This becomes the key low. We correct back down, and then price pushes up. We just broke through this high. This now becomes your key low. So all I would expect is a correction, likely to this 61.44 area, and then a continuation of this bullish move. You could look to target areas of, let's pull it up. Oh, right here. Let me see. Let's dial it out a little bit larger. Okay, so ES has not broken its all-time high. So yeah, you can look for an all-time high break for the ES here. If you take a look on our 4-hour time frame, you can kind of see where our all-time highs are stacking up over here. Right here at this 61.68 levels, and a solid area to take profit, 61.70. All right. 6,170. So look for that 6,170 target to be hit. Anticipating a continued bullish move following this 4-hour candle bullish closure. So that's pretty much all that we have for today. I just wanted to break down real quick what we're going to be looking for. These are going to be some pretty solid moves here in the markets that we'll look to capitalize off of. So for those of you who are not in the VIP, you can join the VIP in the link down in the description. You can see gold already making that steeper move to the downside that we were looking for here. Flipping this 4-hour candle bearish, likely to see that steeper move to the downside. Absolutely a beautiful move here coming into the markets. Tons of volume, rejected off of this high, already breaking through our kilo. So this is exactly what I want to see for our continuation down, and then we'll look to target our lower time frame areas. We just got to wait for a possible corrective structure to form, and then we'll look for this continued sell move to the downside. So for those of you, like I said, in the VIP, I will update you guys as we take our trade, and we'll be on for our 9:30 session. So I'll see you guys soon.